Michael, thanks for joining us at this late hour. I know you got a really busy sort of weekend ahead of you here, man, but thanks for joining us. How was your day over at Doak Campbell Stadium?
It was good. It was good. Some more prospects. Came over. 4-star Khalil Cummings was also there for plays mainly DB and linebacker, but I think FSU likes a DB, so he was there. Stayed for a lot of the practice and some young prospects as well. But man, they've. It seems like every other day, I'm up there because there's so many talented prospects that are, coming through, especially the March 11th weekend, that was a big junior day with the legacy weekend. They had a ton of kids there. So it's not slowing down. They're getting a lot of top recruits, and I expect it to be, hit a really high climax when you get to that, April 15th date where you have a lot of big time guys coming over for the spring game.
During the season, they practice in the morning, Michael, but during spring, Norvell says he likes to practice in the afternoon so that players can come, coaches, families can come and see the way they practice and the way they work. Have you seen that kind of become a nice little kind of wrinkle to how they're recruiting kids? Are players kind of really enjoying being able to watch a full practice, see Odell get on somebody, see Alex Atkins get on somebody? Has that been a benefit?
I think the one thing I hear a lot, Aslan, is the access that recruits get to the practices, like them, but what amount of ways where they'll let them go around. Camden Pryor was telling me the other day, like, man, I was like chasing the wide receivers down because they're doing so many drills that I want to take back to me when I go to Lake City, and there's so much access, not just access for the media, but also access for a lot of these recruits where they want them right on top of whatever they're doing in the drills. They don't want them like way beyond. They want them very in whatever they're doing, whether it's drills, 11 on 11, whatever it is. They want them to be so they can see everything they're doing. So there's no real. It's kind of how they recruit. It's kind of like they don't want any secrets. They don't want any. Hey, this is fantasy land, but when you get here, it's going to be hard. It's like this is how hard it's going to be. Get ready for it. If you want to be here, be here. But if you don't, go somewhere else. This is FSU, and this is they want to lay out exactly what they do. And I think a lot of recruits and their families really like that. We put a story up probably a day or so ago about a kid that visited a 5-star defensive lineman, Lonzo Blunt, that visited. Mom was absolutely blown away because they're so in depth in personal relationships, but also telling you exactly what it is here. Not, hey, this is what it is. Here's the red carpet. But when you get here, they're all shocked that it's really tough. So I think they do a really good job with that stuff.
And Michael, don't they? Is it normal for a school to have so many? Like we're out there at practice, and there'll be, I don't know, 15 different high schools represented, and coaches from all over the state are dropping by, and not all of them have like top flight prospects that Florida State's interested in. It's like they'll just host anyone just because, hey, 3 years down the road they might have a guy. But right now they don't have anybody, but they're still letting them come in and watch practice, even if they don't have a prospect to recruit.
These high school coaches are very enamored by stuff they're doing, the way they put stuff in principles, the way they utilize it in their practice, and I think that's really attractive to a lot of high school coaches. Yeah, there's a lot in there. I think you had a big, I think a nice size South Florida group came over just to watch a practice, just to get there. A lot of young kids, but it's about just so they can visualize what they're doing, and the coaches can see the stuff they're doing. I think they have a coaches clinic next week on April 3rd through the 5th. I expect that to be massive. I expect there to be a massive group because I think a lot of these high schools are very enamored about, okay, what's your secret? What are you doing, Mike, to turn this around so fast? I think high school coaches want to see this, and two, they do such a great job of developing relationships with a lot of these high schools. That's very big to Mike ever since he's been there, that the relationships are strong, but also making sure their product is an open product to everyone to see that, hey, come by anytime. We'll show you whatever. And they'll talk ball with anybody. I mean, sometimes there's kids in there for 6 hours just talking to Mike and the staff about, ball and what they can do to help their program. So they're very big on that stuff. It's not just, hey, let's get the big 5-stars in there and we're just focused on you. We don't care about the coaches. Like they really care about, people seeing their product, not just us as a media, but also high school coaches and abroad. They want people to see just as how we do things.
Yeah, they were part of that Nike coaches clinic going around the state. And I'm sure that curried a lot of good favor for Norvell and his staff
Yeah.
before spring football started. So I know the spring showcase, that's the real big sort of
Yeah.
weekend for spring, Michael. But what do you anticipate this weekend? I mean, I know there's a scrimmage going on, so I imagine that might bring some guys here. Are they focusing on 24 guys, or is it going to be 20, 24, 25? Is it going to be give us maybe a couple names to kind of keep in mind?
Yeah, there'll be several. I think they'll have around 15 to 20 talented prospects for the scrimmage coming up. I think a lot of kids want to watch that as far as just the way they run it, the pace, the tempo, what things they do differently with their just their offense, and then defensively just showing some things that people maybe have not seen about FSU as far as their product. There's a lot of guys coming up. I'm looking through a list as I do this, guys. I think the one premier guy I'm looking to see that comes in is Marquise Easley. He's a 4-star offensive lineman. He's coming in to check out that practice. He's checking in to see. Certainly, he wants to watch Alex because Alex is. I tell people all the time he's a rock star. He's the most exciting prospect that I hear the most about. That kids want to see how he coaches guys. So I think that's a guy that I'm intrigued to see what he has to say when he watches Alex coach and how that offensive line meshes and just the offense in general. So that's kind of certainly a guy I'm focused on. Hubert Calisti, he's a tight end from Louisiana. He's a guy that's coming over. I will have a full list coming up probably in the next day or so for that Saturday. But I expect it to be some talented guys in there. I don't think it's going to be like the level what you'll see at the spring game. I think it's going to be heavy there. But I think you will see some guys come in to check out that spring that maybe have not seen either FSU practice or just an in-depth look at FSU. So I think you'll see a lot. I think you'll see several. I can see it getting up to 20 guys for Saturday, but I think it'll be a pretty well-attended thing. And to Corey's point a minute ago, I think there'll be a ton of coaches, a ton of high school coaches that want to see how they run their scrimmages, because you always want to find little things that can help your school. And I think a lot of coaches are going to want to see that. And I think a lot of prospects are going to want to see that. I mean, the thing I hear the most out of prospects is, man, I can really take that back to wherever I play, and I can implement that in my games. Like I hear that a lot with prospects. And then from the families, I hear a lot about, man, there's nothing like the family of the culture at FSU. It's different. It's unique. The relationships are very personable. I think the Blunt kid who I mentioned, the 5-star defense lineman, I think is pretty high on FSU. He mentioned how only 30 or 40% of the visit was about football. He said the rest of the stuff was like stuff outside of football, things you can accomplish of off the field, whether it's whether it's your academic stuff or just things outside of football. And I think that's a very unique quality that FSU has really sold from the start ever since Mike's been there. And I think that's a big deal with them. And it's good that, okay, your product has changed. You're getting better. You're getting where you need to go. You got a 10-win season, but you're not changing your approach of relationships. And I think that's important because sometimes people get away from that. And I don't think FSU has. I mean, I think that FSU's made that top priority to them.
Thomas doesn't have the super chat working, so he's going to Venmo me some money. I'll give it to you, Michael. Who's the next kid you think that could possibly commit to Florida State?
Whew, man. Yeah, that's tough. I would say Jason Zanamella for me. I think that he's coming for the spring game. He's a guy that loves Alex. I've already put in the RPM pick. That's a recruiting prediction machine, whatever people want to know, the little tagway for that. But he's a guy that I feel like is pretty close. I think I could see him popping for that spring game. He's a guy that I focus on. I think another guy is Jonathan Daniels. I think he's very high on. Also Alex Atkins, another 4-star. I think he's a 5-star now on 3, but those two guys really jump out to me. I would throw out BJ Gibson. He's also expected to be back at spring game. He's a 4-star wide receiver. So I think you see a lot of trends that I'm still getting used to of the way kids talk about these high-level kids are talking about FSU, where they're talking about them like a top 5 program. And it's like I still have to get used to that because I'm like, it's like you had 1 year, but it's how dramatic things can shift when your product is in control and organization's there, the preparation's there. And when they see you beat a team like LSU, they see you compete against teams that are really good. They see you beat two of your rivals in state. I think it's had a dramatic effect, and there's a lot of jazz and excitement about FSU recruiting right now.
Corey, do you drive through Wilcox County between Tallahassee and Atlanta?
I was trying to. I don't know where Wilcox County is. No offense to my man BJ Gibson. I hope I get to cover you for the next 3 or 4 years, buddy. But I'm not quite familiar with Wilcox County. I'll tell you this: it sounds small. It might not be. It might be a metropolis, but Rochelle, Georgia, sounds small.
Last one for you on your way out of here, Michael. Thomas is
Okay.
also wondering over under 3.5 for 5 stars in this class.
I'd probably say under right now, but I will say this: it's going to be close. So I think it's a lot closer than I probably would have predicted, but I definitely think they can get to the 3 mark. But I think 2 is very
Safe.
very real, very
Okay.
real, very very good possibility. So I think I've said this to several people, like, I don't remember this amount of talent, of flux of talent coming in like this in the spring since maybe the 2010 and 2011 years of Jimbo when he first started, where kids are just rolling in. And even now, it's probably even at a higher level than that was. So they're doing a tremendous job. Certainly, they're getting elite guys, not just elite guys like 4-star guys. We're talking like 5 stars. I mean, there's been like 6 or 7 on campus. So I mean, that's a big deal, and it says a lot about, the way people view FSU in this program. But as Corey and everyone knows, you got to keep winning. You got to keep showing the product every year consistently, and that's how FSU's built this on their product. They had to do things differently. They aren't blessed with a guy that had ties to the state of Florida and Mike Norvell, like, Miami or Florida or these other places. Like, they had to go out there and relationships and show their product, and they've nailed it. And I think certainly it's going to be a very good recruiting class for FSU in 2024.
15 seconds. Charles Lester, are we still doing good?
I like their chances. I've already put in a pick for him. I really like where FSU sits. I think FSU's in a strong position for Charles Lester.
Look at that. He's perfect. He could be on TV with the way he's got his timing set up. Michael Langston, everybody, go check out his work on the premium recruiting board. If you're a Warchant member, he's on top of it, answering your questions at all times, because that's what Michael does. He'll be over at the Moore Center catching up with all the recruits too. So go to warchant.com to check out the latest on that. Hit the thumbs up for Michael too, y'all. He's working hard. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, bud.
Thanks, Michael.
You got it.